Hey guys, this is Ryan Kennedy with Total Transformation Heating and Air Conditioning. We're out here at a customer's job site right now. We just got through taking out a lot of the old duct work. We're about to put in some brand new duct work for this customer. But before we get to the new duct work, I really want to show you the reason behind why we're changing it out. If you'll come over here and let me draw your attention. First off, you'll see right here how it's connected to the trunk line. I'm going to put my finger here and let you see kind of how these little flanges are screwed in. There's no, I'll pull this back, there's no tape right there, nothing going around there. See, there's a spot perfect right there. You could see where airflow would definitely be coming out. Here's another one right here. These are all areas where basically the airflow that's being produced for the house is being dumped actually into the crawl space. One of the next things I want to call your attention to is the actual flex lines that run to your vents, whether it's in your floor or your ceiling. This is the old flex line. As you can see, the thickness of that insulation, this is an R4 insulation. It's pretty much the same material that they use today, but the difference is just the thickness in the insulation. I also want to call your attention to the actual boots. This is the boot that would in this case go through the floor, and there's a lot of airflow that's also escaping, not just through this old nasty duct tape. What we use is a mastic tape or duct butter. We use mastic, but those are the only two ways you really want to seal the flex lines onto these boots. And then also, when if this is not wrapped properly with insulation, what you'll end up getting is some mold buildup because of the condensation that's building up on the trunk between the cold air that's being produced in there and the hot humidity that's in the crawl space, or vice versa. So very important to make sure you seal this boot really tight, make sure it's insulated really well. And then also, when this goes up through your floor and it's tacked into the side either with usually with nails, another thing is you want to seal the barrier between where this boot is and the floor itself, whether it's wood or ceramic tile or vinyl or whatever. There's always going to be a gap right here, and you've got to seal that gap. Otherwise, air from the crawl space is going to come up into your house, and I've seen many houses where there's mold on the floor from where these boots have not been sealed, or at best there's dust all around the boot, and again, that's from that crawl space air coming up into your house, and you definitely don't want that happening. Hey guys, now we're going to turn our attention real quick to the ductwork, the flex lines that's going into the crawl space. I showed you before how the old ductwork, the R4, was really thin as far as the insulation is concerned. I want you to look at the new insulation that's going to be going in the house. As you can see, it's twice as thick. Very similar in product materials, but as far as the thickness of the liner, it's a whole lot better. If you can imagine the difference between just pouring a cup of coffee in a glass and pouring it in a thermos with a lid on it, that's a very similar comparison to putting this thick insulation in the crawl space. When we hook this inner liner up, what we do is we slide it over the boot, the circular end of the boot, and we tape that down with mastic tape. And we get that on there sealed really tight. And then from that point, what we do is we pull the insulation over the top all the way to the boot as far as we can, and then we tape that down with mastic as well, as tight as we can. I want to bring you over here and show you just a little bit closer to where the trunk line and the flex connect, right there at the damper. I want you to see how that's nice and taped off all the way around the collar, and there is literally no airflow coming out around this collar right here, which is very important. That means that the air that is coming out of the coil or out of the furnace is the actual air temperature as close as possible to the air temperature coming out of your vent. So instead of losing 10 degrees from the unit to the vent, you may lose just 5 or so. So much better alternative. This homeowner is going to really love the fact that their utility bills are going to be down considerably. Then also, when you look at the boot itself, this is one that's been done already. You can see where it's got flex fit tape all around the outside. It's nice and well insulated all the way to the 1-inch gap right here. We got a 1-inch floor, and where that little lip is, that's just going to slide right up into the floor. They'll nail those in, and then what they'll do is they'll go in and they'll put a sealant, some duck butter or mastic over the top of that, and they'll make sure that floor is sealed nice and tight to where there's no humidity coming up through the crawl space and into the living space. So as you can see here, we got a collar that's going onto a trunk line. Underneath this collar, you've got an adhesive substance that's also being attached to the trunk line by a 1/4-inch zip screw. And as our technician is about to do, he's going to use some mastic to go around all the edges to try and trap any airflow that might try and get out or get into the ductwork. So it's a lot tighter. Make sure that none of the airflow going through the trunk line escapes, which definitely helps with your utility bill. Now we're going to look at the trunk line, the new trunk line. This is the supply line. You can see the collars coming out. These are dampers actually, to where we can actually control opening and closing these instead of doing it at the vent. It's actually better to shut it off here or dampen it here at the damper itself. Otherwise, you're going to hear a loud whistling noise, and if it's cut off way back here at the trunk line, you won't hear that through your floors. Also, if you'll notice the difference in the thickness of the insulation, again, like I said, this is twice as thick as what was in there before. Also, if you'll look on the inside, you notice how that tape in there, notice how that is sealing off where that flange connects, that metal flange connects to the supply hard pipe. And that is all the difference in the world from heat gain and heat loss, how much airflow that you actually lose to your crawl space or your attic, either one, to make sure that you get the most airflow as possible into your living environment. That definitely helps with your efficiency as well as with air quality. These are just a few things we wanted to show you. I'm Ryan Kennedy with Total Transformation Heat and Air, but we're more than just a business.